Hi, everyone. I am here with Elizabeth Gould. She is the author of The Well of Truth, Stories of Spirit. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being here today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here and have a chance to talk with you.
Yes, I loved your book. It's so beautifully written, and I resonated with a lot of what you had written in this book. I mean, it's about women. It's about what we go through. So tell me what inspired you to write this book.
This book really came out of a desire I had to reimagine the experiences that I was having in my life. So it's a somewhat autobiographical tale with a magical spin, but it brings together two pieces that I feel are essential for anyone, but particularly a modern woman. And one of those things is having access to the range of divine feminine energies that we have inside of us. So it's not just the nice, the pretty, the acceptable, pleasing person, that we have a whole spectrum of emotions to draw from that we can see in goddesses of many traditions and from mythologies from around the world. So that's one piece, is that I really wanted to highlight our connection to our sacred feminine. And the other part was I wanted to give a kind of respect and honoring of the rites of passage, the transitions that all of us as humans go through in our lives. And although we have things like birthdays and graduations that we celebrate, what are the initiations of soul that help us grow and stretch that we experience that aren't acknowledged so much? And so this book is really snapshots into the moments of this woman's life where she's faced with this place she's never gone before, and she doesn't know how to move forward. And then she receives this inspiration that helps her get through the challenges, that many of which are familiar. They're somewhat universal. And so in that way, my inspiration was to use those to inspire other people.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you said, like, going into the unknown, because one of the things I resonated with was the motherhood. And you go into that not knowing how that's going to go at all. There's no experience there. You just are kind of thrown into it. So, and then the marriage thing too, I feel like you don't know these things, and nobody can tell you what they've been through. Every experience is different.
Right.
So I just loved how you captured that. And the way you captured it is, I think a lot of women will understand and see through your character that they're not alone, that this happens in many people's lives. So let's go into the themes.
Okay. Well, there are many themes that, as you said, it covers. The beginning of the story is a young woman just out of university who has an experience of getting to feel her aliveness for the first time, her independent freedom, that's part of herself that's just, wow, here I'm meeting the world. And then, she goes through these experiences like her wedding day, she's having doubts, and, what do you do with that? You can't, it's like the day of your wedding and you've gotten this far. And so you just go through it. And so a lot of the themes are about connecting with, her connecting to her name is Grace, connecting to her internal life and her intuition, and sensing herself instead of just doing what she's supposed to do. And I see that as kind of like she's walking this path, and the themes are the ordinary life questions and how to meet them. And I see it finding a way to not only learn to respect and trust herself, but to also trust what's happening around her and life itself, sort of the way it flows. So there's many different themes, and each story seems to have a different quality to it that's about her recognizing a deeper truth about herself or about being a woman, connecting to other women and sharing, so that we don't feel alone, as you mentioned earlier. That's a tremendous thing for women. I believe that not to feel isolated in our struggles or ashamed to share with other women.
Yes, and I love what you said about the freedom, because I think many times in my own situation where you're young and you can do whatever you want, and then all of a sudden you start to make these commitments in your life, the commitment to your marriage, the commitment to motherhood, and that's when you're questioning, do I still have this freedom that I had before?
Right.
And that, and your stories kind of go through that when she went to Italy, right?
Right.
And she had all this freedom.
Right. That was a fun one to write, that chapter.
And I've been to Italy, so I love that.
Right. Well, I think there is something about the fact that women, we take on these responsibilities, and part of the feminine overlay is that we are the nurturers of life, like it's in our biology. We create harmony, we create environments where other people can thrive as well. So when we move from just being a single person moving through the world into supporting a partner or raising a family or an extended family, then we in some ways have to put ourselves on a back burner, that our desires, so that we can be of service to the greater good. And and this is a trick that all of us, it's this fine line we have to walk, of how to keep that spark of freedom or of inspiration alive in us in the midst of all of these commitments that we have as a mother or a partner, or even our career.
Yeah.
That there's so many ways that we mother the world. And of course there's no guidebook for that. And often we don't feel like we have reliable or sturdy mentors.
Yes.
And so that can make it difficult, that we can just feel like we're thrashing around on our own and not knowing quite what we're doing, and not being deeply resourced, so that we have the energy to do what we need to do. And one of the things I, realized very strongly when I became a mother was that if mama ain't happy, no one's happy. So there's that important piece of like, I need to preserve this integrity of my ebullient nature, so that I have something to give when my well is dry. Not so good,
Yes. I struggled with that early on in motherhood. And then I think I got to the point where this is it, that, just roll with it, stay in the present, find a way to make it work and be happy, because otherwise you're going to be miserable the whole time. Like, what did I sign myself up for?
That's right. And one thing that I noticed was that I couldn't necessarily have that freedom to go and do what I wanted to do. But I always had the choice to bring creativity into the way I lived in my role, which felt very defined. But there were ways that I could make it joyful for me to, and of course, kids love that too. when you're willing to go there, then it becomes a real collaborative And like you said, you have to let go of this certain thing of how things should be, and therein lies the freedom
Yes.
when we release that that should, would, this is what I'm supposed to do or what I'm supposed to be like, and that we see out in the media or that other people put on us, instead of being aligned with our true nature.
Yes. Yes. So talk about bringing in the deities that you brought in. I really love that. And like you said, we can find inspiration in that within ourselves and within these deities. So talk, because I feel that that's so unique.
Well, I remember being in 5th grade and we were learning about Greek and Roman mythology, and I just ate it up. I just thought that was the most incredible thing to learn about these women who were powerful and skillful and beautiful and could do all of these things. And I thought, well, wow, I want that in my life. And so as I grew up and went off to university, and I studied art history, which has a lot of mythology embedded in it. It's kind of a visual mythology that's in the viewing of art. And I just love learning about it so much. And that set me on a quest and traveling through Asia and seeing the goddesses of different cultures. I know you recently interviewed the woman who wrote Roar Like a Goddess. And I loved that book because she brought it to life in such a way that that maybe in Western culture we don't quite have a relationship with different female deities. But as I wrote the book, I wrote chapter by chapter, and what I felt my job was to kind of nail down the tent poles and say, okay, this is the situation. This woman is, for instance, on her wedding day, and this is what the scenario is, and then I would just let go and say, what wisdom wants to come through me? What message wants to be shared? So I didn't necessarily know who was going to show up and what they were going to say. I just kind of built the container and then let the goddess come with whatever message.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, it was, the writing was an experience of interfacing with various goddess energies and, learning about them and conversing like, it's interesting. You would say that this is the message you would send, and I'd have to think about it. And
yeah.
So
it was divine guidance for you as you were writing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it was like a co-created work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. I love that. So, besides the deities, what else is unique about your book?
Well, one of the things that I would say is that there are many books, wonderful books out about divine feminine or about goddess cultures, or books that have to do with what these different feminine energies are. But I wanted to write a book that brought it into daily life. That this was a woman who wasn't particularly woo woo, but she had access to what the goddesses wanted to say, and it's very concrete. It's real life. It's not esoteric, and that to me was important, so that women can see how this can live in us and how we can incorporate this these possibilities, and make that happen. So that's I just wanted it to be a straight talking book that you know, the mom with baby food in her hair. She's a real person. You know?
Yes. I had baby food in my hair too. So, who will benefit from your book?
I think anyone who is open to exploring the divinity within themselves. As a woman, I wrote this book from a woman's point of view about experiences that pertain to women. But to be honest, it's inspiring for men or for anyone, no matter what their gender identity is. It's just a book that I hope people will find inspiration from, to tap into the wisdom that they have inside, because we all have it.
Yes.
And it was important for me too to have, in one of the stories, it features the green man. So it's not a female deity. It's a man. And, you know, so it's not just one kind of thing. And some of the stories have wisdom from a spirit animal, or there's a wolf in one, and there's a rose that offers inspiration in another. So I wanted it to be somewhat porous and flexible for people to be able to access the wisdom.
Yes. Yes. I love that. So, what would you like, or did we say, wait, what would you like readers to take away? Did I ask you that? Sorry.
Well, I think very much I would like them to recognize that even though sometimes our lives can feel like, oh my God, this is just a slog, or that, you know, we go through these things, to see it as sort of a bigger picture. Like each of us has our own personal mythology, and we have, you know, trials and challenges, and we get through them, and to acknowledge and honor ourselves for the journey. It's not an easy walk through modern life. I don't think it's an easy walk for anyone, but to take a moment to recognize the experiences we've had, the places where we've grown, and to kind of take that in and really hold ourselves with love and respect and compassion for wherever our journeys have taken us. Yes. And to me, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of us, including myself, think that life just should be easy. It should just flow. It should be perfect. And it's not that way. And it's very hard to just let everything go that you expected your life to be. But it is a journey.
That is right. And I think that's probably the biggest hurdle I will say for myself, was that I had, as a young woman, so many preconceived ideas about what my life should look like. And then one by one, all of these things, these assumptions or expectations, they just got peeled away. And then having to say, well, what is actually here? What is the part of me that's eternal and that is not dependent on these outer experiences, which I think a lot comes from, we watch movies and we watch things and we kind of think, well, that's how it's supposed to be. And how come my life doesn't look like that one? Yes. And so, you know, I just keep coming back to, like, each of us is on our own journey, and we can't compare, because we don't know I don't know what you came to experience, nor do you know what I did, but we can find the places where we meet, and we can celebrate those. Yes. And we can support and uplift each other. And that's what it seems to be all about.
Yes. I love that message. So where can people find out more about you?
Okay. Well, I have a website, ElizabethAGouldStories.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not a massive social media person, so I'm not posting every day. But those are probably the best places to find me.
Okay.
Otherwise, I like to be writing.
Yes. Oh gosh, I know.
Yeah, yes, that's right. You just came out with a book as well, did you not?
It's coming out
It's
on
coming
February
out.
7th. Yeah.
So
So,
exciting.
yes, it is exciting. So, where can people find your book?
Okay, well, it can be found at all of the major usual suspects everywhere from independent bookstores to the larger books chains, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Bookshop. So it's wherever you want to find your favorite books, wherever you like to shop.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I loved our conversation.
Me too. Thank you for having me. It's really, really a pleasure.
Yes.
Great. And best of luck with bringing your baby out into the world.
Thank you. Thank you.